Cool.
Yeah. Hi, William.
Thought I'd take you outside today.
Yeah, it's great. Hi, man. Thanks for coming to my show.
Thank you for the invitation.
So I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing to my audience.
Great.
So can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Hi, everybody. I'm Will Entriken. I've been working on blockchain for about 4 years, and specifically NFT has been the most fun use case. I helped bring this to life. I'm the lead author of ERC 721, which is how NFTs are made. And this has been the inspiration for other NFTs that are out there, but basically ERC 721 is NFTs. And I've been working on implementing this with governments, enterprise, individual artists, explaining what is NFT and basically what is blockchain, because in my perspective, NFT is basically the only important part of blockchain. And how do we use these things to bring forward to the future? So that's me.
So you're from?
Philadelphia. So checking in from home here with the family outside in beautiful Philadelphia, just outside of that, Pennsylvania, USA.
So what made you to start this and understand this and do this?
So I have a friend from high school. He also is from this area around Philadelphia, and he started DeFi, decentralized finance. So specifically compound finance. And he brought me into this space, and he said, "There's a lot of opportunity here. You should study. You should look into this. You should learn about DeFi." And then I saw DeFi, and I was very scared. I thought a lot of that stuff is illegal. And he said, "Don't give up. Just keep studying, keep learning, find what's out there." And then I found this opportunity. I found this initiative, which we now call NFT, and I saw it beginning, and I had the vision of what it was going to be. So there's a lot of work to do at that point, and so this is something I had experience with: open source projects, bringing programmers together, bringing programmers and communities together, bringing government and companies and communities together, and so I just threw my hat in, and that is to say that I nominated myself to do a lot of hard work, and that's the beginning. So it was just the inspiration of this project that everybody was working on and how I could contribute.
So tell me about the book that you published.
So I published this thing called ERC 721, and it's a specification. It's a document. It is a standard. So it explains what it is that is an NFT, and specifically on Ethereum. So you can do NFTs other different ways, but on Ethereum, things that are related to Ethereum like Arbitrum, Tron, Polygon, our Binance chain. These are things that are similar to Ethereum. They're all compatible. So when I say Ethereum, I mean all of these things. And it's a blueprint. So it explains what is an NFT. And just to give a little background here, when we're talking about NFTs, we're talking about maybe a digital artwork or maybe a physical collectible item, or it could be a COVID vaccine, or it could be something in a supply chain. These can all be NFTs. And so this document, ERC 721, published in 2018, explains how do you take a COVID vaccine or a COVID test certificate and encode this in a certain way that other people could use it on Ethereum. So this allows you to create an NFT and then other people to use and validate that NFT. And that's all in this thing called ERC 721. It's meant to be read by programmers, people that are going to be making this stuff, but also for just people that are interested too. So it's an accessible document.
So what is your inspiration to do this?
Yeah, so like I said, my friend brought me into this space, and the thing that I saw specifically that I was inspired was CryptoKitties. So I saw CryptoKitties were these pictures of cats that you could trade, and then this is kind of the first use case that was really enlightening a lot of people, myself included, as to what's possible. And so I saw people trading these pictures of cats, but then I realized that the thing that we're trading, whether they're cats or COVID test results or Microsoft X game in-app purchases, it's all the same technology. So the future the supply chain, the government use cases, these long-term things, intellectual property sales. That was my inspiration from the beginning. And then, everybody else is making pictures of cats, pictures of dogs, pictures of animals, and that's what they're working on. But my inspiration has always been about what this can be 5, 10 years out.
So how it is made with blockchain?
It's easy. So blockchain has these things called smart contracts inside of it. So a smart contract is kind of a program, but the program can't be upgraded, and it does very small things. So ERC 721 explains how to use one of these small programs to track ownership of these tokens. And the tokens are the NFTs. So the T, it's non-fungible token. The T is token. And so that's what NFT stands for. And so these tokens are inside of this smart contract. And then ERC 721 explains how do you do that. And I'll tell you how it works. It's real simple. So it's a ledger. So blockchains are ledgers. So ledgers are just like a book. And then, there's columns of quantities. And so specifically it's tracking for each token ID. So we have serial numbers, we call them IDs. Each token ID has an owner. So token ID 1, owner. ID 2, owner. ID 3, owner. Kind of just the same way you would account for money or account for anything. And that is the accounting. So just one token ID to one owner. That's it. Now we can use this a certain way. We can count them, or we can move them, we can transfer them. But the very basic nugget here is that you've got a bunch of IDs and somebody owns each one.
So from when you're working on this?
2018. So the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, that's when I got involved. And then we published this document in June 2018. So that's the official final publication of ERC 721.
So you said you're working with organizations and governments. So how is that?
Yeah, so since this has been published, obviously there's been some attention around this topic. And so I've been very lucky that I got to work with some of the larger groups working on this. So right from the beginning, one of the groups I worked with is called Ernst & Young. Now they're called EY. It's a big accounting firm, accounting, consulting, tax, all that. And so this is formerly my client. They were working with Microsoft, and Microsoft controls Xbox, and NFTs are used inside of Xbox in the accounting for the sales of the games inside of Xbox. So this is one of the use cases that's been connected through this group. Also, EY is working on pharma supply chain. So I've really just got lucky. I just found the biggest use cases on day one. And pharma supply chain. So pharmaceuticals is a very, very complicated supply chain problem. These drugs are moving across borders, different taxes, has to be cold, which is called cold chain. And, these things can get lost. They're very high value, so people want to steal them. There's a lot of things can go wrong and does go wrong in supply chain for pharma. And so that was one of the first use cases I actually worked on. So Xbox, pharma are NFT use cases. Also another government one was COVID test results, specifically in Mexico. So you get a test result and you want to make sure it's authentic. So this can be done on blockchain. And these are I just got lucky to get involved with these. But in general, the way I work is I have I have a weekly phone call called Community Service Hour. And then I just take anybody's questions like this every week. And so I just take questions. And then as they come, I'm learning too. So as people are inspired with their ideas, I'm saying, how can we do this together? How is it possible that, your idea can be realized through these blockchain, or, a lot of times I tell people not to use blockchain. So the idea is great. You should skip over this blockchain stuff.
So how this is useful?
It's useful because blockchain, this is a technology, it's very easy to make a record and to prove that the record was made and then to not change that record. So you're going to write something down and it's going to stay written down and you're going to know who wrote it. That right there is a huge value proposition. Basically, everything in government should be using this type of a model. So government, right? Government publishes something. You want to know that government published it and you don't want them to change it. You don't want it to be falsified. So basically everything in government should be using blockchain or something like blockchain. And that, that's the nugget here. So that's how it works. That's why it works. Is that blockchain is this immutable ledger is what we call it.
Who are using this? How it is being used?
Yeah, that's how it's used. So the ledger is tracking where each token is, who owns it. And so the ledger is just a book. And then, you own it. So Sai owns it, and then Will owns it, and then Sai owns it again. And so this is a ledger. So we're just writing on the ledger. This is who owns it. This is who transferred it. This is when they transferred it. That's it. Pretty simple.
So how many are using it right now?
Oh yeah. So there's thousands of, let's say hundreds of thousands of people are touching these things, and there's thousands of people creating these things. So it's small and big. The thousands of creators, I'm just talking about notable projects. So there's, one project can be very big. One, for example, the post office of Austria has stamps that they sell using crypto. So that's just one project, one of the thousands of projects out there, and in Croatia as well. So these are, one project could be a collection of stamps, or a collection of series of stamps, or COVID test results, or pictures of monkeys, or pictures of cats. That could be one use case. So thousands of these so far.
So tell me about your team.
My team, that's it. You're looking at it. So I work independently, and then I work as a client. I do client engagement. So I will take phone calls, and then maybe I'll be advising or consulting. So there's a drop going on right now. One of my clients is selling baseball gloves. And so they call me. They're also from Philadelphia. And they say, how can I help? And so I create a plan with them, or I would do some of the work for them. And that's how I engage. So I do not have a team. So I work independently every time. The different teams that I work with, those are my clients. So my team could be Ernst & Young, Microsoft. It could be Rawlings. They make baseball gloves / Dream Syndicate. It could be GenoBank.io. They make these COVID test results and DNA test kits. So these are all of my different teams. Tron is a blockchain. So just different crypto funds, different groups, but I don't control these teams. So I never own these teams, or I don't pay them as like a salary or anything like that. Still independent.
You work globally?
Again?
You work globally?
Oh yeah. So I work in I'm broadcasting here from Philadelphia. I also work in Shanghai in China. And so those are two places that I'm pretty big. And then otherwise I travel. I'll be going to Estonia next month in a few weeks. I just came back from Argentina. And so there's places that I'm invited to, and I just go, do the events, the conferences, the speeches, the workshops. But I just have basically the two home bases where I'm working is Philadelphia and Shanghai.
So you created this after writing the book?
I did not create it. So this was actually created by CryptoKitties. So CryptoKitties is the one project that has pictures of cats that are breedable and they're really cute. And so the CTO of that project, name's Dieter, he actually started ERC 721. The problem was he has two responsibilities, was this standard and then also these pictures of cats. And the pictures of cats, well, they became very popular. And so it required a lot of his attention to work on that. And so this ERC 721 kind of just sat there. So I'm not the creator, but when we published it, my name was at the beginning. So that is a testament to my level of contribution to this project. But not the creator.
So how your previous experience helped you to know about this and work on it?
My experience, yes. So a lot of times I'm doing strategy. So just explaining at a very basic level like this to large companies and saying, probably the biggest thing that I do is say no to a lot of people. People will say, oh, I want to solve student debt. I want to solve student debt using NFTs. I've heard that one. That's a very popular one. And then I can explain why that's probably more difficult than they're expecting. Where people say, we're going to solve climate change. We're going to solve climate change with NFTs. And that's a very difficult challenge too. So a lot of times when I hear the idea and I kind of go quickly into it, one of my best statistics is out of my clients, probably 80% of them fire me after the first phone call. And that's a good thing because they also usually end their project. So they have an idea, they make a team, they get money, they call me, I'm advising them, and then they stop. So these are projects that were not going to work. And, they found out quickly. So strategy is the first thing that I do is I get involved. Just, is this idea going to work? Do you understand what it is that you're saying? Does your vision align with reality? And what can you expect? So I'm kind of a Sherpa. You've got the mountain. I'm climbing up there. I'm showing you what the mountain's going to look like. I'm preparing you. I'm getting your food ready. I'm getting your walking stick. I'm like, here's where we're going. And they're like, wow, that mountain is really high. I'm going to go home and take a nap. That's the first thing I do. Otherwise, I help build teams. So if you have a team, so again, I don't have my own teams, but I know people in the scene. So if you're building a team, I will help you build your team and help you understand what you need for your team. So this could be a new team. This could be, just a couple of people, or this could be an established company. And, they're just adding a new division or trying a new product. But that's team building. And then creating your product. So your product is going to include, what you think you want versus what you actually want. So that's design. And the last thing I do is, depending on the company, help to sell that. So helping explain their product to their customers.
So which industries are using this?
A lot of industries. So right now we're seeing a lot of artwork. We're seeing a lot of people that are kind of new artists, people that haven't sold a lot of artwork before. So we could call that art. Soon now you're going to see different types of artistic things, and that includes shoes, shirts, movies, playwrights, things that are kind of intellectual property, things that you would see on a lunchbox. Let's put it that way. And these will be established brands that are producing their products. These are coming out now. So this is kind of I'm lumping clothing and artwork as an industry, right? Okay, so that's kind of the second use case. And then right now, actually, supply chain is very big. So supply chain is happening, but you might not hear about it so much because they don't require investment. So if you look right now, the pictures of cats, crypto kitties, people buying them, selling them, buying them, selling them, and some people are making a lot of money, and that kind of drives the front page of the newspaper. But when you see Microsoft or SAP or somebody doing a supply chain use case, it's much bigger. I mean, it's way bigger, but nobody's getting rich off of this. It's just working. And so it doesn't really have as much news coverage. I'm happy with that. The projects are doing great and we're making great progress. But and these are big use cases that are happening today, but the story's not really being told.
Which countries are using it?
Oh, so the United States happens to be pretty big just because, there's some innovative people here. China is stuck a little bit because it might be illegal there. So they're still figuring out the laws of what's legal and what's not. So you'll see a lot more innovation in Singapore, Hong Kong than you would in China and Korea. Korea is very big on this. So you've got Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, United States. Now in South America, this is very big because of some currency issues down there in the economy. So Argentina, Mexico is actually pretty big in this scene. And then in Europe, Germany is very big. UK is having a large event later this month. NFT NYC is moving to London, or is hosting in London. So I think London's smaller, but Germany is pretty big. And then Slovenia happens to be a nice spot. France is a nugget in there just because of some tax laws. France and Switzerland are preferable to these type of companies. So these tax laws are just attracting innovative people into these countries. So those are probably the biggest right now. A little bit of Canada too, but just like I've said there, those are some parts of Africa, but it's not a very big center yet, but those are basically the areas where this is happening.
So which countries are using it more?
All of those. So there's China, Singapore, Korea, US, Mexico, Argentina, maybe Brazil, Germany, Slovenia, Switzerland, France, UK, maybe Canada.
Is this going to be, going to replace the digital currency?
No, no. So NFTs and digital currency are different things. They work together. They can work together. They don't have to. And it's not going to replace digital currency whatsoever. Now, I think digital currency is going to fail on its own for different reasons, but NFT is totally separate from that.
So it is being built using blockchain.
Yep. Yep. So here's blockchain. You put digital currencies on blockchain. You can put NFTs on blockchain. You can put some other stuff on there too.
So your book is completely about blockchain and how it is made.
Yeah, it's explaining how to put NFTs into blockchain. It's explaining exactly how to do it.
So how your previous jobs and experiences are helping you to do the present work?
Oh yeah. So my experience, I worked in engineering and finance. So I worked for Google for a minute. I worked for the U.S. Navy. I worked in semiconductors, just doing engineering stuff. And then I've also worked in finance, buying companies, how to buy companies, how to sell companies, how to integrate companies. And actually, I had a great experience at Google a long time ago. And I was working on this new program that they had for open source. And they actually paid me to work on open source, just free software. And it was pretty ahead of the curve at the time. Like companies weren't really paying money for this. And so that was my experience, was working on open source projects, huge projects, and then coming in as one person on the outside, coming straight into the middle of the project and then contributing whatever you can. This is really not the case at the Navy. You don't just jump into the middle of the Navy and then change anything. That's not how the Navy works. And this is not how large companies work. It's not how governments work. But open source works this way. And so I have quite a few years experience in that, getting open source, learning how to bring communities together. And so that is what basically made me confident enough to start in this project. So when I saw the landscape, I saw the people working on this, I drew on this experience and I said, yeah, I've seen these type of problems before and I know how to solve them. So I know that the inclusiveness that we need to draw the people together is going to solve this. And that's exactly the playbook I used on ERC 721. Because it's a book. It is a book, but the book's not the important part. The important part is that nobody else has ever written a book competing with it. There's no competitor. So if you read ERC 721, that's one book. What you should really look at is the 4 books that weren't published. So the other books that were retracted or canceled. And so really the effort here is getting everybody to agree on this one book together. And so, I mean, the book's cool. It's got words in it. The words are okay. But really, it's the unanimous consent that we have around this book that's the contribution.
Tell me a few experiences you doing this job.
Yeah. So originally getting started, it's how do we get this book to be good? How do we get the other books to be, when you're creating a standard, you want things to connect together. So you want NFTs to connect, you want maybe marketplaces to connect, wallets to connect, digital currencies to connect, everything's got to connect. And so if you have 2 different standards, some things connect here, some things connect there, that's a really bad problem. So we really want to have one standard that everybody uses. And so that was the problem. So the techniques that I used here was really simple. If you're in this space since 2018, if you've been working on NFTs since 2018, you know my phone number. Everybody knows my phone number. This phone number right here, this phone, I'm on the phone right now. You have my phone number. If you want to know if somebody's in the NFT space since 2018, you ask them, do you have Will's phone number? Because they do. I've been on the phone with everybody. So, well, I haven't been on the phone with everybody, but I've at least, offered to be on the phone with everybody. And so I've sent emails. I'm out late night, any time zone. I'm like, look, I might have this right, I might have this wrong. But what's really important is that I talk to you about this and that we get on the same page. So that was how I did it. That's the secret. It's just lots of phone calls, giving everybody my phone number, and just being available 24/7.
So tell me about your clients.
Yep. So this is what we talked about before. This was EY, so EY/Microsoft. This group has been working on supply chain, cold chain, pharma supply chain, pharmaceuticals. And so this project has been going strong. Microsoft has been embedding NFTs inside of Xbox. So you wouldn't see them if you use Xbox, but if you're a publisher, if you sell games on Xbox, you can use these NFTs to get paid. And you can get paid faster. Actually, you don't even know that they're NFTs. They're just things behind the scenes, but you're just getting paid faster. You used to get paid in 180 days. Maybe now you get paid in like 4 days from when they buy the game to when you get paid. Huge improvement. Also working with a government in Mexico called Quintana Roo. So Quintana Roo has a problem with COVID test results. People were faking them. They were taking the test and they were writing a different test result. And they were faking them specifically for travel. So this is my client here was a genobank.io working with the state of Quintana Roo and also Avalanche. Avalanche is a blockchain. So the three of us working together and delivering this product of just secure COVID test results, private secure test results that are time-stamped. Other ones, Tron. So Tron is a blockchain. Tron is having a strategy of how they're going to. They have a hackathon, and it's a very ambitious project, very ambitious. And so I'm coming on them with a strategy. So I'm helping them with strategy. How do we launch a hackathon in the West with this company that started in the East? Also working with a crypto fund. This is a private company of people that are investing and they want to work with they want to understand the projects that they're investing in. I don't think they've said very much publicly yet. And then a latest one I'm working with is Light.art, which is some great artists, just very well-known photographers that just successfully launched a photography collective where they've all sold NFTs of just very successful launch, just sold out right away. That one's called Light.art. And then Rawlings, Rawlings and Dream Syndicate is a design studio. They're just launching as we speak. They're selling baseball gloves, so limited edition baseball gloves, numbered, very rare, very good stuff. And this comes right after the baseball All-Star game, so good timing on that. And yeah, so clients are doing a great job and just, great success stories. Some things that you can see now, and then some things that are just kind of, they're long-term, they're happening, but you just won't read about them in the newspaper yet.
So how to understand this?
Understand what?
How to understand this?
Yeah, so these projects that are long-term, like let's say supply chain. Supply chain, to change the supply chain might take 5-10 years to get anybody to implement one of these things. So in order to do that, you're going to have to work with multiple vendors, get them to agree on the same type of technology. It's pretty rough. So the things that have been delivered now have been, right now we have Merck. Merck is a very large pharmaceutical company. So Merck Animal Health is now using in production blockchain NFTs with EY to track the movement of their vaccines. So this proves that they're authentic and tracks the logistics through the supply chain. So just a great thing here. This is done. So this is live. But it gets more exciting, maybe you don't have animals. I think this is for cows and maybe chickens, but the same technology works for human drugs. So it will be more exciting, obviously, when they use the same technology to track human drugs. Human drugs have a higher price, higher value than animal drugs. So the same thing's just going to roll out, and that's when you see it. That's how it works, the rollout. So we start now with animals, chickens and I believe chickens and cows, and then we have human drugs coming later. And it just takes years and years to do it.
So what's its future?
Yep, the future is it's like a snowball. So it's coming down, it's getting bigger and bigger. The things are already happening. There's not much more to invent. We're like 2001 right now. The internet's been invented. We have the computers, we have the World Wide Web. Now just everybody needs to use it. That's where we are right now. We have NFTs, we have blockchain, we have all the good stuff, we have all the bad stuff. A lot of people know how to use it. A lot of things have already been integrated. It's just that as people recognize the value and how cheap it is, how easy it is, and the benefit of the security, more and more people use it. and it just keeps working. That's the rollout.
So, can you tell your online presence to my audience?
Online presence, yep. So I'm on Full Decent, FULLDECENT. So I'm on Twitter and Twitch. So I have a weekly phone call every week. It's called Community Service Hour. And so NFT Community Service Hour. And it's 1 hour a week, Tuesdays at 6 o'clock New York. And you just show up and ask questions. I'm here. So you can ask questions about NFT, Web3. You can ask about your project. Basically anything I would do for consulting, I do for you for free every week. I want you to be successful. And so you working on these things, connecting through social and through these phone calls, that's my vision too, is you being successful.
I'll share your web links in the description of this video. Also, I'll put
Cool.
on the screen as well. People who find our video on YouTube can see it.
Awesome.
And at last, what is your observation about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Yep. So I saw your videos. You've got a good job of bringing people out, and I think you're moving in the same direction. So you've got innovation, you've got builders, but I think you're early in the game. So I want to see where you're going with this.
So I did masters in software engineering and also bachelor's in computer science and engineering. How talking with experts like you who are into different countries for doing different jobs and giving different services, how this is going to be helpful for me if I work in IT in coming days?
Yeah. So I could see that. For you, I was in your position too. I also did computer science, computer engineering, electrical engineering, math for undergrad. And so, for you also want to get your hands dirty too. So interviews are a great way to find your direction. I know the series here is about you finding directions and opportunities for you. You also want to have GitHub. You want to have your GitHub lined up. If you're going to be doing technical work, for sure you want to have your profile up. But and I'd love to review your GitHub too. I'd love to review your work and see, the direction you think you're going in.
Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Absolutely.
Can I also put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Everywhere, yes.
Thanks, William, again for your time and telling about your work and also answering my questions.
Thank you. I appreciate the discussion.
Yeah, keep going, keep doing what you love.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.